Soul not for sale. This is the original shirt. I haven't had a lot of time for the laundry, so this is fresh out of the laundry. I love putting this one on. It's the one that started it all. Let's get right into the video. Is Vivek Ramaswamy? That's how you say it? Oh, I hope I butchered it. I know I did. It's okay. Is he connected to the World Economic Forum? Somebody was asking me to look into this. They were like, oh, he's connected and you should look into it and blah, blah, blah. I work on my own schedule, but I'm always willing to look into the stuff you guys send me. Just so you know, when it comes to links, no disrespect, I can't click links. If you got an article or a video, you email me, just tell me the name of it and I'll find it. But other than that, I can't click the links. It's no disrespect to you. I just got to be cautious. But let's get into looking into Vivek Ramaswamy. Hope that's how you say it. But first, we got to go to the Soul Not For Sale store. And you know what? I'm calling it the Soul Not For Sale store. My wife wanted it to be Coach Colin because she loves me so much. But I like Soul Not For Sale because, on this channel, Soul's not for sale. And just so you guys know, we got hoodies. We got shirts, we got t-shirts, v-necks, children's sizes, and tank tops. Every single purchase helps us fight against demonetization and them limiting our videos. And you know who the them is, right? The they, those people, But let's get right into it. I honestly, when it comes to this guy, I'm going to bring up a few things. So first off, is he connected to the World Economic Forum? Well, he's doing some things and he's had a narrative that kind of shows me that he's not. So let's just get into it right away.
The World Economic Forum and I fundamentally share a different worldview on how society ought to be run. According to the World Economic Forum view, the Klaus Schwab view, the view of the Great Reset, we have to dissolve the boundaries between the public and the private sector, even between nations, so that those leaders may work together towards the common good, often determined from places like the mountaintops of Davos. My view is different. I'm not a global citizen. I am a citizen of a nation, this nation, the United States of America. And as a citizen, part of what we believe in this country is that you have an equal voice and vote in determining how our society should be run. That is a fundamentally different worldview. It is the old worldview enshrined in the World Economic Forum model versus the worldview that we enshrined in the American Revolution, that citizens of self-governing nations ought to be able to govern themselves. So there was a bit of an oddity where, despite that being my view, despite the fact that I was one of the most vocal critics of the World Economic Forum's worldview, they, without my consent, named me as a so-called young global leader, an elite distinction that they reserve for a number of high-profile young people, entrepreneurs, billionaires who are young. They named me on that list along with a lot of other prominent people joining their ranks. But they did it without asking for my permission. Isn't that pretty interesting? Take one of their top critics, but to name them on their website, use my photo without my permission on their website to say that I was one of their young global leaders. So I told them, I never gave you the permission. I told you that I didn't want to be included. I'd like for you to take this down. Yet they did not take down my picture. They didn't take down my name. Yes, I've been successful. Yes, I've founded multi-billion-dollar businesses. Yes, I've overseen the development of medicines that make for better lives for patients in different disease areas. I could see why they would want me to be affiliated with them. But I refused because we share a fundamentally different worldview. Well, you know what? Enough is enough. It turns out they do this to other successful young business leaders too. And at a certain point, we just can't complain about these problems. I think we have to push back. So I am officially now considering whether I should sue the World Economic Forum, whether I should actually take this to them and actually hold them accountable for doing something that they shouldn't have done. I'm going to ask people for their opinion. I want to be very transparent about this. I am thinking through this. I'm giving this a serious consideration. Should I sue the World Economic Forum or not? That's what's on my mind. I want to share that with you, and I expect to make a decision.
He's going to make a decision. He made a decision already. He decided to sue the World Economic Forum. He actually went through with this, guys. And I can show you that here, right? So he actually went through with the suing of the World Economic Forum. Now, when we hear someone suing the World Economic Forum, we assume they're suing them for billions of dollars. I mean, these people are in the ranks of royalty, and also, BlackRock, which is, corporate royalty, I would say. Yeah, but the lawsuit is only for $2,500, which is a little weird. So now there's two camps you can think of this in. Maybe he's making all this up and the World Economic Forum's going along with him, because what would they love more than to have a president who's this young, who's in their ranks, kind of like a plant or a sleeper agent. You can say that whole thing. But also there's this. So the $2,500, that's one thing. So now he goes on to say that this is a shot across the bow. They should be held accountable. I'm like, okay, whatever. But then the World Economic Forum actually responded. And then this is something that they didn't do for Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I made a video about Tulsi and how she had World Economic Forum ties. This is much different. The World Economic Forum invited Mr. Ramaswamy as a potential member of the Young Global Leader community. However, an individual does not formally become a member of the Young Global Leader community until they accept a nomination. Mr. Ramaswamy declined to be nominated and was therefore never an active member of the Young Global Leader community. Now, when it comes to Tulsi versus Ramaswamy, Vivek, here's the difference, right? Tulsi was given much notice about this. So she was nominated. She accepted nomination. She was congratulated on that. She posted herself about the community she's now going to be a part of and how happy she was about it. So for her to go on and say they didn't consent, or I didn't consent to this, all that makes no sense. No sense. And it confirms again what I said about nomination. You have to accept a nomination, right? I said that before, and a lot of people were pretty mad because they love Tulsi. But again, live and learn. She lived and she learned, but she doesn't want to quite admit it. That's how I see it. Now, the difference with Ramaswamy is the fact that they released this statement at all and actually said he declined to be nominated. Now, again, if you want to be full tinfoil, you can say, he's making that up. They're making that up. They lie about everything. You can't trust them at all, no matter what they say. I'm not in that camp. I'm going to trust this. This makes sense. They were called out and they're like, okay, you know what? We'll step back. We actually didn't actually get his nomination. He wasn't actually a member. They're admitting fault. And they're within their right to admit fault because they're only going to get sued for $2,500. What's the big deal? Who even cares? So I think that is some proof. But, I mean, when it comes to more proof about this guy, I would say, stuff like this. I mean, we come over here.
Great to see you. What was your reaction when you heard Elon Musk slam the World Economic Forum as, quote, an unelected world government?
I think he's on the right theme, but it's not even just about the World Economic Forum in particular. It is about the worldview that it represents. It is what its chairman, Klaus Schwab, calls the Great Reset. The Great Reset refers to dissolving the boundaries between leaders of the public sector and the private sector, dissolving boundaries between different nations to address what they view as shared global challenges, like climate change or racial inequity. Well, guess what? A lot of citizens around the world and democracies around the world, including the United States, are saying absolutely no to that vision. Actually, the way we're supposed to settle those political disagreements, we say, is through free speech and open debate in the public square. And that's really what the World Economic Forum represents.
But they're not doing that.
It's the old world European view. Yeah. Oh,
they're not doing that.
They're doing the opposite of that.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So the World Economic Forum represents that alternative worldview, the way old world Europe used to work, right? We fought a revolution in this country in 1776 that said that we settle disagreements as citizens. The World Economic Forum's worldview is different. We do it the old world European way, behind closed doors on the ski tops of Davos. That's
our way or the highway. Okay,
So I only play that to show he's kept this narrative going. He's been against the World Economic Forum since they tried to nominate him as a young global leader. So this kind of makes sense. So anybody thinking that he's connected, for me, I don't think he is, just from what I've looked into so far. He does not seem like it. I mean, here's just another example. Here you go.
What you said about limited government, what you were just talking there about corporations being apolitical. Do you agree with what Florida Governor Ron DeSantis did with Disney after they spoke out about his education bill?
I would have handled that situation a little bit differently. And I think we need to be actually precise about what the real drivers are of corporate wokeism. One of the underappreciated realities is that Disney's largest shareholders are BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. Indeed, the three institutions that promote ESG, environmental and social agendas in corporate America's boardrooms, that are the largest shareholders of most public American companies. And what they do is they set a cultural tone that causes these companies to behave in politicized ways from their boardrooms on down. That's a problem that needs to be fixed through the market, and I don't really believe in governments, whether it's on the left or on the right. You see this on the left, too, using the bully pulpit as a way to drive corporate change. I think the right way to drive corporate change is actually to do it through the root cause itself. And in this case, a lot of that's top-down, driven by the ESG movement in capital markets and in corporate America's boardrooms.
So that is just another example. I mean, this guy is bringing up BlackRock. You know, subjects like that are usually off the table for people who are within the World Economic Forum, who are trying to run for anything or, you know, get into any cabinet of whatever, you know. They're not bringing up BlackRock. The fact that he did that live on Fox to that nasty lady, as Trump would call her, it speaks a lot. I really do think so. So in terms of him being connected to the World Economic Forum, I really do not think that he is. I mean, he's made sure to talk about how against them that he is. He has made sure to speak about that a number of times. He's made sure to sue them for even bringing his name, aligning their names together. He's made sure to do that. I don't know if he won that suit. I don't even know if he fully carried it out. Because he did make that lawsuit in about April 19th-ish. So maybe it's still carrying out, whatever, what have you. And they have admitted fault. So I would see that as if they were connected at one point, they're definitely disconnected now. I mean, so that's just my thinking. You might have the thinking of like, you know, whatever. He's a politician now. He's a liar. And I 100%. I support that way of thinking, but you know, someone just asked me to look into it and see if he's a part of the World Economic Forum. And as far as I can see, especially from searching the Young Global Leaders website, like I usually do, I check to see if he's an agenda contributor, which he's not. And he's definitely not a part of any of the governing or leadership committees. So I see no connection to him at all. And I haven't seen him speak at the World Economic Forum either. So as far as I'm concerned, with my research, he's not a part of the World Economic Forum. But tell me what you think. Maybe he's a liar. What do you think? He's lying? Do you think Klaus is willing to do whatever in order to get someone who's president into office and young? Because, you know, having Biden is like, yeah, he's a little, you know what I mean? You guys know. You know. You've seen him before. You've heard him talk. You know, having Biden isn't that great. You know, he wants somebody like Vivek because Vivek is like Trudeau. They're like around the same age. They're young. They can get into office for a long time. You know, Trudeau is working on a bit of a plan, it seems, to have him in office just perpetually, like a young Putin or something. He's aligning groups, he's aligning parties and making it so he can't really get out of office. It's actually quite disgusting. So I would assume that Klaus wants something like that with Vivek as well, but Vivek doesn't seem to be on board whatsoever. So other than that, I am out. Let me know in the comments what you think, but I'm out.